June 1974. A senior KGB officer waits on a riverbank outside Moscow for his contact. He scans the area nervously. He never notices a dragonfly hovering just 6 feet away. Why would he? It looks completely ordinary, except this dragonfly has never eaten a mosquito. It has no digestive system. Inside beats a miniature gas turbine. A camera sits where its brain should be, and its only mission is to steal Soviet secrets without ever getting caught. The CIA called it Insectothopter, and here's the nightmare that still keeps intelligence historians awake at night. It actually worked. For one fleeting, heart-stopping moment, America had perfected invisible surveillance, a drone that looked, flew, and hovered exactly like a living insect. So what happened? Why has almost no one heard this story? And more importantly, why was it killed? The answer isn't what you think. The KGB didn't catch it. The Soviets never knew it existed. The real killer was something far more invisible, something no amount of engineering could defeat. And to this day, it still haunts every drone engineer chasing the perfect spy. To understand why the CIA spent millions building a robotic dragonfly, you have to feel the intelligence nightmare of 1974. The Cold War was frozen solid. The Soviet Union was building missiles, moving troops, and developing new technology behind an impenetrable wall of secrecy. America's eyes in the sky were blind in all the wrong ways. The U-2 spy plane could reach 70,000 feet, but the Soviets had already shot one down. Satellites gave wide coverage, but they passed over at predictable times, and the Soviets simply hid when the bird was watching. What the CIA needed was something that could get dangerously close, something that could hover outside a window, land on a windowsill, or slip into a room without anyone batting an eye. Something that looked like it belonged there. The concept was pure genius. Build a surveillance device so perfectly natural it would be invisible, not through stealth, through mimicry. Enter the Office of Research and Development, the CIA's skunk works for ideas so crazy they just might work. The 1970s weren't just disco and bell-bottoms. They were the golden age of espionage gadgets that would make James Bond jealous. The KGB had cameras and pens, microphones and shoes, assassination devices disguised as umbrellas. But the CIA played a different game. If you could make a surveillance device completely indistinguishable from nature, you'd win the ultimate camouflage. The Soviets swept rooms for bugs and monitored radio frequencies. They trained officers to spot anything suspicious. But whoever suspects the dragonfly on the windowsill? Who notices the fly on the wall? Nature had perfected camouflage over 400 million years. Replicating it with 1970s technology, that required pure audacity and a team of engineers willing to attempt the impossible. The man tasked with building this impossible machine remains a shadow in declassified documents, known only as the lead engineer. He was a specialist in microtechnology at a time when the field barely existed. His team included entomologists because the dragonfly had to fool experts standing just feet away. They studied high-speed photography of real dragonfly wings, measured wing beat frequencies down to the millisecond, analyzed how light hit compound eyes and how shadows fell. The goal wasn't good enough from a distance. It had to fool a sharp-eyed KGB officer or a security guard who might notice this particular dragonfly never rested, never fed, never behaved like a real insect. The pressure was crushing. The budget was classified. The timeline was as short as possible. Somewhere in Moscow, secrets were waiting, and in Virginia, a dragonfly was learning to fly. In a secure laboratory in Virginia, the impossible became reality. The Insectothopter, officially a miniature remotely piloted vehicle, lifted off for its first controlled flight, and it flew exactly like the real thing. The tiny gas turbine drove the wings at the precise frequency for stable flight. It could hover, dart forward, change direction, and handle mild wind. Inside its abdomen, no larger than a pencil eraser, engineers placed retroreflectors in its eyes. The drone carried no listening device itself. Instead, it worked with a laser system. Operatives would shine a laser at the drone. The retroreflectors bounced the light back. Sound vibrations from conversations caused tiny movements that could be extracted from the beam. In tests, the drone performed flawlessly. It was stable, it was quiet, it was invisible. Test subjects couldn't tell it from a real insect at distance. The CIA had achieved something remarkable, a surveillance platform that hid in plain sight. The Dragonfly was ready. But here's where the story takes its first brutal turn. The Insectothopter was a marvel inside the laboratory in perfect windless conditions. The real world refused to cooperate. When engineers took it outside for field tests, they discovered its fatal flaw: wind. A real dragonfly weighs almost nothing and has spent millions of years mastering turbulence. The Insectothopter, no matter how sophisticated, couldn't compensate for sudden gusts. A breeze that barely ruffled real insects sent the mechanical version tumbling. Engineers worked frantically, different wing materials, adjusted controls, but every fix created a new problem. To stay invisible, it had to remain insect-sized, but at that size, physics was merciless. The smaller the flyer, the more vulnerable to air currents, and Soviet secrets weren't discussed in windless labs. They happened in the real world, a world full of wind. By 1975, the pressure was crushing. The CIA's operations directorate had lined up high-value targets where this dragonfly could change everything. Meetings in East Berlin, Soviet research facilities developing new weapons, KGB safe houses. Human sources were too risky. Planted bugs could be found, but a dragonfly on the windowsill, that could work. If only it would stay airborne. Engineers tried every trick, mimicking other insects, miniaturized gyroscopes, shorter flight ranges. Every solution bred new problems. Larger for stability meant easier to spot. Closer launch meant risking human lives. The program that once burned so bright was slowly dying from 1,000 tiny compromises. The Dragonfly was perfect, except where it mattered most. The final test was supposed to silence every doubter. Engineers had refined the design for months, hoping they'd finally beaten the wind. The site was chosen for predictable patterns and a target building that mirrored real Soviet sites. The drone launched perfectly. For almost 3 minutes, it flew better than ever. The camera sent back recognizable images as it approached the second-story window and the simulated meeting inside. Then, without warning, a crosswind hit, not even strong enough for a human to notice. For the Insectothopter, it was catastrophic. It tumbled end over end, controls overwhelmed. By the time the operator regained partial control, it was too late. The drone crashed into a tree, fragile wings shattering. When engineers recovered the wreckage, the camera was still recording, its very last image, leaves and sky before the lens cracked. The test was over, and so effectively was the program. But here's where it gets truly interesting. Official documents say the Insectothopter program was canceled due to technical limitations, specifically the unsolved wind stability problem. And technically, that's true. But some researchers who've pored over the declassified files believe there's more to the story. Budget records show the program was actually making progress on the wind issue when funding was suddenly cut. Internal memos reveal the Office of Research and Development wanted another year or two to perfect it. So why the abrupt termination? Some speculate the CIA learned of new KGB countermeasures that could detect mechanical insects. Others point to rival programs lobbying for the money. And then there's the most intriguing theory. The Insectothopter was simply born too early. 1970s technology couldn't solve problems modern microdrones handle easily. The full truth still sits in classified files. Maybe one day we'll know. But the Insectothopter refuses to stay buried. It's a ghost that keeps haunting declassified documents, a what-if intelligence historians still debate, a dragonfly that won't stop flying. The Insectothopter never flew a real mission. It never hovered outside a KGB safehouse or listened to Soviet secrets, but its legacy is everywhere. Modern military hummingbird-sized drones are direct descendants of that 1970s experiment. Microdrones that slip through windows and record conversations build on the technology it pioneered. The program was officially declassified in the 1990s. Today, the original prototype sits in the CIA museum, one of those artifacts that makes visitors stop and whisper, "That's real?" Yes, it is real. And it worked. For one brief moment, the CIA had a functioning insect drone. The fact that a light breeze could defeat it doesn't erase what those engineers accomplished in 1974. A flying machine smaller than a human hand, powered by a miniature engine, controlled remotely, disguised as nature itself. The technology that killed the program, wind instability, would eventually be solved by better materials, better sensors, better control systems. But the vision, the sheer audacity to try the impossible, that was there from the very first flight, and it still flies today. The Insectothopter represents something rare in espionage history. A brilliant idea born simply too early. The engineers succeeded in their core mission. They built a working insect drone. They just couldn't make one that worked everywhere, every time. In the intelligence world, almost isn't good enough. A drone that crashes in a light breeze doesn't just fail, it risks exposing the entire program. So Insectothopter was shelved, its files locked away, its engineers moved on. For decades, it lived only as rumor, a Cold War story. Then the files were declassified, and the world finally learned the truth. The CIA really built a Dragonfly spy. It really flew, and it really worked, until it didn't. But the dream never died. Today, insect drones are real. They fly over battlefields, hover near windows, watch and listen. They are exactly what the Insectothopter's creators hoped for. And somewhere in the DNA of every microdrone ever built lives a little piece of that 1970s dragonfly, the insect that wasn't, yet became the ancestor of everything that followed. The spy that never spied, the future that arrived 40 years late, but it arrived. If you thought a Dragonfly drone was ambitious, wait until you hear about Project Aquiline, the CIA's plan to build a mechanical bird that could soar over Soviet territory for hours on silent 7-foot wings, watching everything from above. A bird that wasn't a bird, a predator that never sleeps. That story, even more classified, until now. The files are open. The truth is waiting. See you in the next video.